Welcome to Health Coach for Women, a podcast where we explore alternative and holistic solutions to better health and wellness through intentional living. Now, here's your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker.
Hi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Health Coach for Women, a podcast where we explore alternative and holistic solutions to better health and wellness. And I'm your host, Marsha. Now, today I will be talking about the Okinawan diet. Okay. But before I get started, I want to go ahead and ask you to hit that like button, share, and subscribe. And of course, I normally have a quote, which I do. And it is always related to today's topic. All right. So the people you surround yourself with influence your behaviors. So choose friends who have healthy habits. And that's by Dan Buettner. All right. And he is the author and producer of Blue Zones, the Netflix documentary Blue Zones. I've talked about that before, where he did some research in different parts of the world, looking at their diet and their environment, and seeing how people live long, healthy lives, right? And it was quite interesting. So if you haven't checked out Blue Zones yet, check it out. All right. So I want to talk about this diet. All right. The Okinawan diet. Let me talk about that. Okay. So now the title is called the Okinawan Diet, Unlocking Longevity and Wellness for People Like Yourself. All right. So now I just want to say now in this world that we're in, right, we already know that we are in this fast-paced environment and everything that we do, sometimes we can get caught up where we want to have quick and fast meals or snacks or whatever. And sometimes we just don't have the time, or that's what we tell ourselves, right? Because we're always on the go. And we know that several things make up our health and wellness. And what are those things, right? Our environment, right? Our environment, the air that we breathe, right? The air that we breathe, that plays a significant part. Or household cleaning products in our homes. What are we cleaning in our household? What type of cleaning products are we using? Are we using aerosol sprays? All of these things make up our environment. Okay. And now for people to live a long time, there are some things that we have to look at. What are the factors, or to live a healthier life, to have that longevity and vitality? What are some things that we're looking at, right? I talked about environment, right? Environment matters. So clean, fresh air, right? That matters, clean, fresh air. What about diet, right? Diet is important. And that's one of the things that we'll be talking about today is diet. But what about fitness and exercise? What about participating in some form of movement, right? That's important. So all of these things matter, and who you surround yourself also matters, because when we surround ourselves with negative and toxic people, right, sometimes that can affect our own wellness and mental health, right? So all of these factors come into play, but I want to focus specifically on the Okinawan diet. All right. So now for this diet, is the perfect example that promotes longevity as well as vitality, right? And the key components of this diet is a high consumption of vegetables, particularly leafy greens, sweet potatoes. Now there they have this sweet potato. It's a red sweet potato. Okay, so it's a red sweet potato, seaweed. All right, these are the things that they eat in high consumption. So it's mainly, again, plant-based. All right. Now, there is a moderate intake of legumes, right? Especially soy-based products like tofu and miso. All right. And they have a low consumption of meat, primarily fish, with minimal amounts of pork. This is what it's saying here. They eat healthy grains such as rice and millet. So rice is actually good for you, right? And sometimes we say, well, we don't want starch, but some starch is actually good for you. So certain starches, such as rice, are considered resistant starches. Now, these resistant starches are actually good for the microbiome, all right? It's good for the gut biome, right? And studies have shown this, all right? So rice and millet is fine. You should definitely have a limited sugar intake with the emphasis of natural sources of sweetness, okay? So make sure that when you're looking at using sugar, you want to try to use the natural sugars as possible. All right. So now where are some natural sugars? They're found in your fruits, right? So I know some people, you want to taste, and I myself like to I can drink tea without sugar. That I can do. But cold brew tea without some type of sweetness, no, I can't do that. I'm not there yet. But if it's hot, I can definitely do it with no problem. It doesn't bother me at all. But maybe if you are like me, like that, you can have some natural sweeteners, right? And some examples of some natural sweeteners are honey, dates, coconut sugar, maple syrup, molasses, agave. You have stevia, right? Monk fruit, that's another one, monk fruit. So you have options where you can choose, right? So again, let's get back to, let's finish it up with the diet here. All right, so I talked about your intake of sugar. Let's look at now there's a concept of hara, hachi, bu, right? And this is also central to the Okinawan diet. This is particularly a type of Confucian teaching that teaches you to eat when you're 80% full, right? And health practitioners and coaches, health coaches, and we know that we eat until satisfied, not when full, right? So we pretty much follow that model, right? The 80% rule, right? Eating when satisfied, not when you're full. All right. And so this of course is definitely helps with promoting eating in moderation as well as preventing overeating. Okay. And so what are some of the proven health benefits of the Okinawan diet? So research has shown that the diet can lead to numerous health benefits, a reduced risk of chronic diseases. The diet's high antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties help lower risk of heart disease and cancer and diabetes. Okay. It enhances cognitive function. Nutrient-dense foods support brain health and reduce the risk of neurodegenerative diseases, right? And what are some other things here? Improved lifespan, low-calorie, nutrient-dense nature of the diet, which contributes to longevity, all right, because of its low-calorie, nutrient-dense nature. All right, so some of the health statistics of the Okinawan people. All right. For those people living in that region is quite particularly very impressive concerning as far as rates of dementia and heart attack, strokes, diabetes, and other illnesses. They had one of the lowest in the world, actually, right? But not so much now of what I recently found out, but I'll get back to that. But they were actually #1 in the world, right? So dementia, significantly lower prevalence of dementia, right, compared to the global average. Of course, due to their diet rich in antioxidants and omega-3 fatty acids, right? And I talked about that before, the importance of the omega-3 fatty acids, right? Heart attacks and strokes, they're among the lowest rates globally, which are attributed to low intake of saturated fats and a high consumption, again, of omega-3, such as fish, right? And regular physical activity. So it's not just one thing, right? It's a combination of things that is helping people in this region to live longer. All right. And so diabetes is one of the lowest in Japan. And I'm sorry, I didn't even mention that Okinawa is a region in Japan. Did not mention that. My apologies. All right. So they have one of the lowest rates in Japan and around the world and in the world. It's linked to a low calorie, high fiber diet with a healthy weight maintenance. All right. Cancer, lower rates of breast cancer and prostate cancer. That's associated with a high intake of soy products and other plant-based foods, right? Hypertension, effectively managed through diet and high potassium from vegetables and sweet potatoes. Now, I will say this. Now, I found something because I was doing some research on this topic, and I found something that that I found that was updated. Now, they have KFC in Japan, right? They've had it for a while, but recently they've added it in that Okinawan region. And so now what they're seeing, I don't know the stats on it, was just something I was listening to on a video that I found. And so now that they've put it in that region, you have more people consuming this KFC. I don't know the stats, so don't quote me on it, but I thought that was like, wow, really? They just had to come there and, I mean, hey, it's a free country, right? But again, people have to be disciplined and to stick with what works, right? And what works is having a plant-based diet and staying away from those processed foods and meats and all of that stuff and fried foods. Now, am I saying you should never, ever in your life, ever eat fried foods? I would be telling you a lie. But if that would be your choice, then hey, that's your choice, right? That's great. That's great.
If you are struggling with health issues like chronic pain, being held back by past traumas, or feeling overwhelmed and hopeless, please know there is hope. There is help. Transcendence, a woman's guide to healing and self-love for better health, happiness, and abundance, is a blueprint to help you get your life back and reclaim your health. Within its pages, you'll learn how to elevate your existence by shifting your mindset toward the positive, focusing your energy on what's really important, using gratitude to feel deep appreciation, changing your gene expression through epigenetics, building resilience, and living in a state of flow, feeling love overflow within. Go beyond an ordinary life. Transcend. Buy it now.
So, because I can't tell you that I don't eat fried foods occasionally, but that is not my diet overall, right? I do my best to eat healthy foods and go plant-based whole foods, right? But yes, I will occasionally have some like fried fish. I do enjoy fried fish. But I also enjoy baked salmon. All right. So again, everything in moderation. If you have fish once out of a month, fried fish once out of a month, or a few days out of the month, it's not going to kill you, right? But if you're having fried foods on a daily basis, you probably may really want to consider reducing your intake of fried foods, right? All right. So now, let me go back to the incorporating the Okinawan diet into your lifestyle, right? So you can plan and prep. Now, we're busy, right? Busy working moms with our busy professional careers, et cetera, right? We can plan ahead of time and prep, right? And we can allocate time during the weekends. So if you off on the weekends, is a great time to meal prep, right? So depending on your work schedule, you can plan and prepare in advance. All right, you can cut up your vegetables, cook your grains, prepare your proteins so that they are ready to go when you are ready to eat them. Remember, when I talked about having fresh fruits and vegetables, if you're not going to eat it within a few days, they don't last long, right? And if you notice, there's a difference between the organic and the non-organic produce. You'll notice the difference because those tend to last a little longer, right? A little longer than they normally should. So that's how you can tell the difference, okay? If you have a tomato sitting on your counter for over a month and it's still in good condition, you might not want to eat it. I'm just saying. All right, so preparing, right? And you can make simple recipes. You can make fruit smoothies. What I like to do is take the coconut water, right? The organic coconut water, and sometimes just blend it with some plain old organic blueberries, right? And I have me a night and put some ice in it and blend it all up in my bullet. And it's a nice, cold, refreshing drink, right? And it's low blueberries, it's full of antioxidants, right? You might even want to throw in some parsley and cilantro in there, right? Parsley and cilantro helps remove the heavy metals out of the body, right? And you can detoxify the brain. Okay, so some healthy snacks, nuts, fruits, seaweed, and it helps curb your hunger in between meals, right? Making sure you should always aim for eating balanced meals, right? That include a variety of vegetables and proteins, and you should be having these things daily, right? You should be having them and consuming them daily. All right. And some of the traditional dishes that's in the Okinawan diet, they include goya shampuru, which is a stir-fried dish featuring bitter melon, which is the goya, tofu, eggs, and sometimes pork is what they're saying here. Okinawa soba. Now that's a noodle soup made with thick wheat noodles and a fish-based broth, typed with slices of fish cake and green onions. All right. Sata and daji. Don't know if I'm saying it correctly, so forgive me if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Now that's a sweet treat. So this is Okinawan donuts made from simple ingredients like flour, sugar, and eggs, and which they're saying is perfect for some form of indulgence, right? So we don't want to totally deprive ourselves, but we can indulge in moderation. So what is moderation for you? You tell me, once a week, once every other week, I don't know. All right. Again, so sample food lists for your pantry includes your leafy greens, spinach, bok choy, kale, right? All your leafy collard greens, turnip greens, all right? Sweet potatoes, all right? We have the sweet potato here. It's not the same as the sweet potato that they have in their region, but sweet potato is good for you. It's a healthier option than the white potato, all right? Seaweed, such as nori or kombu, tofu and miso, fish, preferably oily fish such as salmon, right? Or mackerel, whole grains, brown rice and millet, fresh fruits, especially tropical varieties like the papaya. Oh, the papaya. Now that's a good one. Now I love the papaya. It has to be organic though. The papaya is very good for you. All right. So the papaya is actually, it contains proteolytic enzymes, right? It contains proteolytic enzymes, which help break down the proteins, which helps aid in indigestion. It's rich in vitamin C, which can help boost immunity, of course, and protect against infections and chronic diseases. It's great for cardiovascular health, weight loss, menstrual cramps, all right, and even inflammation. Eyesight and skin. Papaya, organic papaya. Now, what else is a proteolytic enzyme? I'm going off a little bit into proteolytic enzymes, but what else? Pineapples. Pineapples are very good for you. Contains bromelain, right? Apples contain rutin. So these things you want, that's why it's so important to consume plenty of fruits and vegetables, all right? Challenge yourself. Try eating fruits only, maybe fruits and raw greens, leafy greens challenge yourself for a day or two, 3 days. Push yourself, challenge yourself, right? I'm going to do it, right? So let's challenge ourselves to push ourselves further, right? The things that we think that we can't do, but when we shock ourselves at the things that we can actually learn that what we can do and discover what we can do, right? Like I talked about fasting. Some people say, "Oh no, I could never go for a meal more than 8 hours or 12 hours." But if you push yourself, you'll be amazed at what you can do, right? And detoxify your body for doing a 12-hour fast, right? All right, so I think I covered just about everything. Let me just go back to my notes here. So I was switching between screens. So I think that about covers it. All right, and so the Okinawan diet, just like the Mediterranean diet, right? What are they saying? What are these things that's happening when people are going with more whole food, plant-based diets? What is happening, right? They are reversing their diabetes, right? Particularly type 2 diabetes. They're reversing their diabetes, improving in their health, taking less pain medicine, right? Taking less medicine, period. Improving their mental health, all right, right? Because remember, I talked about the connection between the brain and the gut, the importance of gut health. And again, I'm always learning and studying and researching and doing whatever I can to find out as much so I can share that information with you, right? And so it's amazing what they're saying. And maybe I need to make that a podcast topic about the gut health and this fecal transplant, and then how certain missing microbiome and gut flora, the absence or the presence of certain gut flora in the body is how it's linked to anxiety, depression, okay? All of these things are linked in autism. They're finding that there's certain things that you can do to improve your gut biome by just changing your diet, right? And even with this, I think it's called fecal implant, where they're taking a healthy person and implanting it into someone who has this illness and disease. One study, I forgot where I saw this. It was a study, and the doctor who studies this, she's actually a geneticist or something. And I can't remember where I saw it, but she's a geneticist, and this is what she does, right? And was able to, people with Parkinson's, was able to reverse their Parkinson's, autism, the children with autism, able to improve and reverse. And this scientist or doctor, she worked with the children at a young age, and she's seen vast improvement. And at the time when I'm watching, I'm not thinking, oh, I should save this information, right? I'm just doing it to get my own knowledge. So, and I was so amazed by that. But I understand that the mind and the body is connected, right? I understand that 100%, but more importantly is the importance of the gut, the microbiome. If you're not taking probiotics, you may want to consider taking probiotics, right? And some of that includes just your regular foods, right? Fermented foods, such as sauerkraut, pickles, all right? Start improving your gut health, and you will see that everything else will improve, right? Along with doing some exercises, right? Doing things for yourself to improve your health and your wellness, okay? And again, if you haven't checked out Blue Zones, you need to check that out. I think it's on Netflix. I believe it is on Netflix. Check out Blue Zones. Very informative. Oh, cacao nibs. I didn't even talk about cacao nibs. I talked about that before. Cacao nibs, all right? Loaded with antioxidants. Top it off in your frozen yogurt or your non-dairy ice cream, or your ice cream, right? If you consume dairy, if you eat dairy products, top it off in your ice cream, right? It makes a great topping. Healthy, good for you, helps with longevity, right? So this is all I have for you now. For now, I wanted to share that with you. But until next time, stay healthy and stay well. Bye for now.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Health Coach for Women with Marsha Roopchand-Walker. If you've enjoyed this episode, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.